Question 7. There are 204 students at Ysgol Bryn. The caretaker always puts 15 chairs in each row in the school hall. How many complete rows of chairs must the caretaker put out so that each student can sit on a chair? How many empty chairs will there be? So, the important bits of information. There are 204 students, and each one of those needs to be able to sit down. So, it's asking for how many complete rows of chairs will we need for everybody to sit down. He says there's always 15 chairs in each row. And then finally, we need to say how many empty chairs there will be. So we've got 204 students and 15 chairs in each row. So we need to figure out how many rows there can be now. So these 204 students are shared between 15 chairs in a row. So the sum we need to do is 204 divided by 15. So we can do the bus stop method for that. So 204 goes in the bus stop. There's no space left, so 15 waits outside in the rain. How many 15s go into 2? Can't do it. So I put a 0 on the top. Now I've got to carry that 2 over because I haven't used it. So how many 15s go into 20? 1. How many left over? There were 5 left over. So how many 15s go into 54? 15, 30, 45, 60. So that's too much. So we definitely have 3. Excuse me. We definitely have 3 here. And how many left over? There are going to be the difference between 45, count up to 54. Well, that's going to be 9 left over. So in a few years ago, you might have written remainder 9. Well, we need to get into the habit of actually getting a good decimal as well. So if we have a remainder and we need to get a proper answer, then we need to be able to use that remainder and carry it over. Well, there's nothing here to be able to carry over. So 204, we put a decimal in, is the same as saying 204.0 because there's nothing in that column there. But by doing that, by adding the point and the 0, I can now carry this 9 over. So I put the 9 in front of that 0 now. Don't forget, if there's a decimal in the question, then there needs to be a decimal in the answer in a nice straight line. So now I say, how many 15s go into 90? So I've got 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's how to find a decimal when we have a remainder in a bus stop method. So this has now told me that 204 pupils, there are 15 seats in each row. So that means I'm going to have 13.6 rows. That's what I need to fill all of these chairs with pupils. But the question is asking me for the complete rows. So that means 13 rows isn't going to be enough because I need that extra 0.6. So I need to round this up to the next row. So that means I'll need 14 rows to fit the 204 students. Then it says how many empty chairs will there be, because we said that it didn't quite fill the 14 rows, so we need to figure out how many empty chairs there will be. So I've got 14 rows and 15 chairs in each row. So 14 times 15 chairs, 14 rows, times 15 chairs will give me, how do I do 14 times 15? Well, I can do it in my head, and I can say that 10 times 14 is 140, and I could do 5 times 14. Well, 5 times 10 would be 50, 5 times 4 would be 20, add them together would be 70. Sorry, 5 times 14 would be 70. Then I add them together, so that will give me 210. So you could do that in your head with the little workings like this, or you could use the grid method. So split that up into the tens and units, so 14 times 15. So 1 times 1 is 1, don't forget the 2 zeros. 5 times 1 is 5, don't forget the 0. 4 times 10 is 40, 5 times 4 is 20. And then add all of these up here. So you'll do 100, add 40 is 140, add 50 is 190, add 20 is 210. So that gives me a total of 210 chairs. Well, there's only 204 students, so 210 chairs, take away 204, gives me 6 chairs spare, or 6 empty chairs. So the examiner will give you 1 mark if they see that you've tried to work out how many 15s go into 204. They will give you 1 mark if you have correctly said that there are 14 rows, and they'll give you 1 mark for either 13.6 or 13 remainder 9. Either one of those will give you 1 mark. They'll give you 1 mark if you have said five times 14. So here, the 210 chairs, and then take away the 204, and then 1 mark for your final answer of 6 chairs spare. So that's 5 marks in total.